Alright, so as I'm sure many of you have already heard, there's been some big news going around TF2 right now. And why is that, you might ask? Well, because Gabe Newell, the founder of Valve himself, just leaked some info about TF2's future in an interview held in New Zealand. Which may bring you to a second question, by the way. Why is Gabe Newell doing random interviews in New Zealand? And, well, to answer that simply, Gabe Newell apparently really likes New Zealand, like really likes New Zealand. He got stuck there during COVID season and apparently decided that he's liked it so much he doesn't want to come back. So I don't know if he's been getting bored or what, but he randomly took up this interview at an Auckland high school, and this was just a part of what came up. So I guess the first thing I could say about this interview is, told you so. But no, seriously, I can't actually say that just yet, because we haven't actually seen anything official really roll out besides what Gabe just told us. What I can say, however, is what I do know and a little bit of speculation. So, first off, my thoughts on Gaben saying we do have updates for TF2 is very optimistic, because it seems to imply something more than just the typical crate updates. At this point, if Gaben were really just saying we just have more crate updates coming, that would have seemed very redundant to say because, well, that's what we always get. It's what we've gotten for like the past 3 years. And if Valve were to ever officially say TF2 is no longer getting any more major updates, crate updates would likely still be what we'd expect. It keeps people invested in the game and keeps money rolling in for Valve. Now, as for the follow-up question, Gaben hints that Valve is very aware of the bot problem and does believe that they'll have some promising ways to fix it soon. And this to me seems like a very big hint of what kind of update we could be potentially looking at here. And what kind of update would that be? Well, let me give my thoughts on what we could probably expect. Number one, we could definitely expect new crate drops. We are long overdue at this point, so that would mean we'd get some new hats finally, some more new skins, and maybe some new taunts. But besides just that, I think some very big and necessary changes will also be coming to TF2. One of those big changes likely being an additional anti-cheat system. Valve has already expressed in the past how much success they've had with things like the Trust Factor and Overwatch systems, and that they would be available to all other games in the future. So what better time than now, when all these cheating, tech-spamming bots have been flooding our servers? I also think we'll be getting one other great quality of life update due in part to a little project you may have heard of called Team Comptress 2. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar, Team Comptress 2 is a pet project started up by a member of our very own community, Master Comms. Basically, you remember that source code leak last year? The one that had everybody scared that hackers were just gonna download malware straight onto your computers through TF2? Yeah, well, anyways, something good that came from that is that Master Comms apparently picked up this source code leak, skimmed through it, and decided that just for fun, not paid her anything, she wanted to try and fix all the bugs in the game as well as make quality of life fixes to help TF2 run smoother in the future. Then once she was done, she wanted to pass this newly updated code off to the community as well as to Valve themselves. Now, there's certainly no guarantee that Valve will take this up, but considering Valve has started accepting community work again, like what they did with Left 4 Dead 2, there's really no reason for them not to accept this, and it's very likely that they will. But now I'm sure the question y'all are really asking is that it? A crate drop and a whole bunch of quality of life fixes? I mean, yeah, all those things would be great, but no actual content update? Like, no heavy update? Yeah, well, I'll be frank with you. I don't know if we'll ever actually get a heavy update, to be honest. For reasons I've disclosed before, it's possible that Valve never actually intended to give us the heavy update after the Jungle Inferno update. However, I do believe we will be getting some kind of content update this year, and I'll give you my reasons why. Now, before I disclose any of this to you, I will say I've known this info for a while. In fact, it's part of what I was referring to months ago in my update conspiracy video. However, I was trusted then with a lot of very interesting information, and I'm not quite sure what has happened since then, but since I was trusted with that info back then, I'm gonna keep this still very vague in case I might leak too much. But for the first time ever, I will make some of this knowledge public now. So, months ago, me and a couple YouTubers were contacted by this company that I won't name about participating in a project. This company was in talks with Valve and definitely proved to us that they were who they said they were. Now, at the time, this company was really just doing its own kind of thing. Like, I don't believe at the time they were really doing anything with Team Fortress 2. So anyways, we were all given a time frame of around when we'd be expected to help with this project, but due to things continually coming up and dates being pushed back, the YouTuber group project thing was eventually just abandoned. However, upon me talking back and forth with the head project leader, he did at some point let me know that part of why the project was being delayed was because they were actually in talks with Valve about working on a content update. Now, what this content update was going to be, I was never told. Just that a content update was being worked on between this company and Valve. So, as you might expect, I was obviously very interested in this information and maybe once a month or so would contact this person to see if there were any updates to the news he'd given me. And at first, this project leader would respond with bunches of detail, but finally one day, this guy just stopped responding entirely. Now, I know I'm about to go full conspiracy mode again, but bear with me. I believe that this company head not responding to my last message could have been a good thing. The reason being, because as you may have noticed over time, when Valve gets really close to pushing out an unexpected update, they like to get very quiet, and they like to make sure that the people involved with their project, sometimes like community members, also keep very quiet. They really don't like leaking out the details of what's to come early unless it's something like a major update, like say for the Jungle Inferno update. So, for instance, last year, you might remember when Whatville got leaked? You might have noticed how in some forums, the creator of the map 13 was going full-blown denial mode about it potentially going into the game. He was acting like he had no idea what you guys were talking about it being put into the game and how he hadn't worked on it for years, but then sure enough, a couple weeks later, Whoville appears in TF2. And it's in my opinion that this may be exactly what's happening right now and exactly what TF2 is trying to avoid. This project head that had talked to me numerous times, whether it be on call or whether it had been in messages, all of a sudden stops responding. And conveniently, right around the same time, it said that Mastercoms, the creator of the Team Comtress project, is also all of a sudden said to be going kind of radio silent. And around this time, also very conveniently, all these small things are happening to TF2 under the radar, such as item servers going down, no drops happening for days, and small changes even being made to MVM's code, and more. So again, in my opinion, I know this might just look like more conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat type stuff, but I'll say it just like I said it months ago. I believe that the signs are on the wall and that an update is certainly coming. Now, how big that update will be, I can't say. I'd like to say we probably shouldn't get our hopes up for anything too big, as the TF2 team used to be a lot bigger when we get things like the Jungle Inferno update, and on top of that, COVID happened. So the quarantine has obviously made it much more difficult for Valve to work on things at this time. But, like we've been told before, a lot of Valve workers have been stuck at home. A lot of these workers have been working on small projects they wouldn't have normally been working on before, and some of these workers have been working on TF2. And it looks like Valve is finally more accepting of accepting community projects. So, I think with the community's help, we're finally going to see something happen fairly soon. So anyways, keep your eyes peeled, and until next time, this was Big Joey! A little later.